Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. I hope everyone had a wonderful 4th of July weekend now as the country gets back to business after the 4th of July holiday. Some really interesting things have happened over the last couple of days. First, let's start by taking a look at the one and only Matthew McConaughey, and he is wishing America a happy 245th birthday. Basically, there are some aspirations from Matthew McConaughey to run for the governor of Texas. Let's listen to some really interesting comments from Matthew McConaughey, who basically says, America, let's rock. But he says, as a country, we're going through puberty. Pretty interesting set of comments from Matthew McConaughey over the 4th of July weekend. Let's roll the tape and hear from Matthew McConaughey. Let's watch.
Happy birthday, America. Yes, indeed, as we celebrate our independence today, as we celebrate our birth as a nation, a day that kickstarted a revolution to gain our sovereignty. Let's admit that this last year's trip around the sun was also another head scratcher. But let's also remember that we are babies. You know, as a country, we're basically going through puberty in comparison to other countries' timelines. And we're going to go through growing pains. We are going through growing pains. This is not an excuse to say this. It's just a reality. And this is good because we got to keep learning. We got to keep maturing. We got to keep striving. We got to keep climbing. We got to keep building. And we got to make sure we maintain hope along the way as we continue to evolve. Why? Because it's who we are. Why? Because the alternative sucks. I believe that America and you and I believe we're an aspiration. All right? We're constantly in motion. We're on the way, trying to get wiser, trying to get braver, trying to dream more, trying to do more, trying to be more fair, take the right kind of responsibilities, to gain the right kind of freedoms. And we got to keep realizing that we're a place where our individual pursuits and desires need to be appreciative and supportive of our collective responsibilities as Americans, hence the United States of America. Sure, we're each unique, we're each independent, we each have innate abilities that others don't have as people and as states, but at the same time, we are all in this together. And if you don't purchase that, move on, go somewhere else. So, as we celebrate the red, white, and blue this weekend, let's be sure and just reflect just a minute. Take a little bit of inventory on where we've come from, where we are, and how and where we want to go from here. On the way to being the best we can be. Now, what if that was a song that each of us just said, I can't not sing that song. I want to be a little bit better. You want to be a little bit better. Let's be on the way to being the best we can be. Let's make that a song we can't not sing. Why? Because it's who we are. It's who we got to be. And again, the alternative sucks. Let's rock, America. Happy birthday. Just keep living. I'll see you there.
In the meantime, some other comments have also emerged from Senator Mitt Romney, the Republican from Utah. He specifically says, I quote, I don't know that we sufficiently appreciate not only the brilliance of the founders, but also their courage. Let's roll the tape and hear from Senator Mitt Romney, the Republican from Utah. Let's watch.
You know, the historian John Meacham said that perhaps the most important words ever written originally in English are these: all men are created equal. The words of the Declaration of Independence and the foundation of this country changed the entire world. It said government is not there for the king, the pharaoh, the feudal lord. The government is there for the people. It is a nation founded upon the principle that all men are created equal in the eyes of their Creator. I don't know that we sufficiently appreciate not only the brilliance of the founders, but their courage to write a document based upon principles that were revolutionary, but they also considered revolution that would put their own lives in jeopardy. A handful of individuals came together and shaped the course of history for America, but also for many other nations which adopted the principles of our founding documents. And so as we look at the challenges we face today, sometimes I think we have to recognize that individual leaders can have an enormous impact. And whether that's the leader in a home, a leader in a church, in a school, in a company, in a country, those people who are given the responsibility of leadership really can have an influence that goes well beyond just the one or two people that they may be talking to. It may be an influence that shapes societies for years to come.
In the meantime, the economy is starting to reopen. In fact, here's the director of the National Economic Council, Brian Deese, on the state of the economy. He said this: the Congressional Budget Office doubled its projected growth for 2021 from 3.7% to now 7.4%. He said if we achieve that growth in that range, it would be the highest in nearly 40 years. Let's roll the tape and hear from the director of the National Economic Council, the White House Economic Council, Brian Deese. Let's watch.
The CBO in particular doubled its projected growth for 2021 from 3.7% to now 7.4%. And that's if we achieve that growth in that range, it would be the highest in nearly 40 years. But also notably, the CBO not only increased its growth projections, but projected downward where unemployment will be next year, and also downwardly revised its projections for 10-year deficits. So actually, as its growth estimates increased, its projections for future deficits as a share of our economy came down from where it was projecting in February.
Now, the past few days, the president has been busy. And in fact, after the 4th of July weekend, the president is going to get back to the White House to start negotiating the infrastructure deal. But over the past few days, we heard about the horrific incident that happened in Florida. President Biden went down to Florida and he actually spoke with first responders and thanked them for their work following the Surfside building collapse. And the president said, I quote, "The job you're doing is incredible." Let's roll the tape and hear from the President of the United States as he commends the first responders for their work following the Surfside building collapse. In fact, let's show you this headline on your screen first from ABC News. Biden visits Florida to meet with first responders, families impacted in the Surfside collapse. So the search and the rescue effort has been halted over fears of a further collapse, and all measures that need to be taken, including bringing the building down, have already been taken. Now let's take a look at the president as he recognizes the job done by the first responders and tells them the job you're doing is incredible. Let's roll the tape and hear from President Biden. Let's watch.
I just wanted to come down and say thanks. I've worked with you for my entire career since I got involved in politics. Matter of fact, in Delaware, there used to be a joke back in the 70s when I got elected to the Senate, 1972. Said there's three political parties: Democrats, Republicans, and firefighters. I'm a firefighter. And but all kidding aside, the job you're doing is incredible. And you know, most of the time, people don't really fully appreciate what you're doing until they need you. And Jill and I have had the experience of having needs you. You saved my life. Literally, my fire department saved my life when I had two cranial aneurysms and I had to get to the hospital in a snowstorm and had to get to Walter Reed, which was 122 miles away. Got me down in the snowstorm for a 9.5-hour operation to save my life.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Please click the like button. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. That would be really appreciated. That is your vote of support for all the effort that goes into our channel. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. This right here is a little bit of information about me. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, please click the like button. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. Again, that is your vote of confidence in our channel. I appreciate you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.